My son introduced me as the family loser who never amounted to anything. We were at his company's gala, Founders Legacy Celebration, 25th anniversary. Black tie, open bar, string quartet. I'd been invited specifically. Connor didn't know that. He spotted me across the room. His face went red. He walked over with his girlfriend, Natalie, pulled me toward a table of senior leaders. "Everyone, this is Daniel Hayes," he said, laughing. "The family loser who never amounted to anything." The table went quiet. 5 executives, nobody knew where to look. Connor kept going. He had chances and just stopped trying after my mom died. That's what giving up looks like, folks. I smiled, extended my hand to each person. "Good to see you, Connor. Pleasure meeting you all." Then I walked away. He didn't know I'd signed the papers 3 days ago. Let me back up. Earlier that evening, I'd arrived at the Nicollet Island Pavilion around 6:30. November 18th, 2024. Minneapolis. The air had that sharp cold that cuts through your coat. I drove my 2006 Honda Civic. Silver. 198,000 miles on it. I'd bought it used in 2006 for $8,200. Connor used to be embarrassed when I picked him up from school in it. His friends' parents drove Audis, Lexuses, Range Rovers. I parked in the back lot, walked to the entrance, security checked my name. "Daniel Hayes, guest of CEO Victoria Brennan." They waved me through, handed me a name tag. It said, "Special guest of CEO." I went inside. The pavilion was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Mississippi River. Past hors d'oeuvres, shrimp cocktail, those little puff pastries. 150 people, maybe more. Velocity Core Systems' entire leadership team, plus investors, board members, long-tenured employees. I grabbed a ginger ale from the bar. Found a quiet corner. I wasn't there to network. I was there because Victoria insisted. "Daniel, you have to come," she'd said on the phone. "You're being announced Monday. This is your company. You should see it." I'd agreed. I wanted to see Connor in his element, watch him work the room. He was good at that. Director of Product Strategy, $155,000 a year plus equity. He'd built a career here. What he didn't know, I'd helped him get hired 3 years ago. Victoria and I went back to the 90s. When she heard Connor was applying, she called me, asked if I wanted to put in a word. I said yes, quietly. Connor never knew. Around 7, Connor arrived. Navy suit, crisp white shirt, no tie, confident. He had Natalie with him. 28, marketing executive at a different firm. They'd been dating 18 months. She'd met me once, briefly, at a coffee shop. Connor had been awkward about it. Connor saw me across the room. His smile dropped. He said something to Natalie. She looked over. He shook his head like, "I don't know why he's here." He walked toward me. Natalie followed. "Dad, what are you doing here?" "I was invited," I said. "How are you, Connor?" "I didn't invite you." "I know. Victoria did." His jaw tightened. "Why?" "She wanted me here. Something about the company's history." He glanced at Natalie. "This is my dad, Daniel." Natalie smiled. "Good to see you again, Mr. Hayes." "Please call me Daniel." Connor cut in. "We should go say hi to people." "Dad, enjoy the evening." He walked away. Natalie gave me an apologetic look and followed. I stayed in my corner, watched Connor work the room. He was good, shook hands with the VP of Sales, laughed at the CPO's jokes, introduced Natalie to the VP of Engineering. He belonged here. That made me proud. Then around 8, he brought a small group over, 5 senior leaders. I recognized them from photos on the company website. VP of Engineering, Chief Product Officer, VP of Sales, Director of Marketing, and the Chief Financial Officer. Connor's voice was loud. Too loud. "Everyone, I want you to meet someone special," he said, grinning. "This is my dad, Daniel Hayes, the family loser who never amounted to anything." The group froze. The VP of Sales looked down at his drink. Connor laughed. "No, seriously, this is what happens when you don't go to college, folks. My dad had a shot at a big career back in the day. Then my mom died when I was 7, and he just gave up. Stayed stuck. Same level for 25 years. The chief product officer cleared his throat. "Connor, it's fine," Connor said. "Dad knows I'm kidding. Right, Dad?" The VP of Sales tried to pivot. "What do you do, Daniel?" "I'm in technology consulting," I said. Connor jumped in. "Consulting is code for couldn't get a real job. Dad's been freelancing for decades. He still lives in our childhood house from 1995. Same furniture, same car from 2006. That's 200,000 miles, by the way. He said it like it was a joke, but his voice had an edge. "Connor," Natalie said quietly, "maybe we should—" "I'm just being honest," Connor said. "My dad's a great guy, but he's proof that when you stop trying, you stop growing." The table was silent, uncomfortable. Someone coughed. I stood, extended my hand to Connor. "It's good to see you doing well, son." I shook hands with everyone at the table. "Pleasure meeting you all." Then I walked away, headed toward the bar, ordered another ginger ale. Victoria found me a minute later, CEO of Velocity Corps. 53 years old, sharp, competent, kind. We'd worked together in the late 90s. She'd always respected me. "Daniel, I'm so sorry," she said. "I had no idea he'd—" "It's all right," I said. "He doesn't know yet." "Should I say something?" "Monday will be soon enough." She nodded. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, really." She touched my arm. "What you did in 99, what you gave up, he has no idea, does he?" "No." "Are you going to tell him?" "He'll find out Monday. Then we'll see." Victoria looked back at Connor. He was laughing with his colleagues now, telling another story. Everyone was smiling, but it was forced. "He's going to regret this," she said. "Maybe. Or maybe he needs to learn something." I finished my ginger ale. "I'm going to head out. Thank you for inviting me." "You're sure?" "Yeah, I've seen enough." I left around 8:30, drove home. Same route I'd driven for 29 years, through downtown Minneapolis, past the university into my neighborhood. I pulled into the driveway of my house. 1981 ranch. Beige siding, 1,650 square feet. I'd bought it in 1995 for $165,000. It was worth maybe $310 now. The wooden mailbox was hand-painted. I'd repainted it 23 times. Connor used to count. Inside, the house was quiet. Brown leather recliner in the living room, JCPenney, 1997. I'd had it reupholstered twice. The walls were covered with framed photos, Connor's soccer games, school plays, graduations, every milestone. I sat in the recliner, looked at the photos. There was so much Connor didn't know, so much I'd never told him, but Monday morning everything would change, and in 72 hours he'd learn the truth. Connor and Natalie left the gala around 9:30. I know because Uncle Stephen texted me. He'd been there too, board advisor. He'd witnessed the whole thing. "Stephen, that was brutal. You okay?" "Me, I'm fine. Monday will be interesting." "Stephen, want me to talk to him?" "Me, no, let him find out naturally." I went to bed around 11. Didn't sleep much, not because I was angry. I wasn't. I was just thinking about everything Connor didn't understand, everything he'd assumed about my life. Meanwhile, Connor and Natalie were in the car, driving back to his condo, downtown Minneapolis, 850 square feet, modern loft, $2,400 a month rent. I'd helped with the down payment 2 years ago, $35,000. Connor thought it was a work bonus. It wasn't. I know what they talked about because Natalie told me later, much later, after everything happened. She'd asked him, "That was harsh. Why did you say those things?" Connor had shrugged. "Because they're true. My dad had a promising career, VP of engineering track at Velocity Corps' predecessor company back in the 90s. Then my mom died when I was 7, and he just gave up." "Gave up or had to focus on raising you?" "There's a difference between being a good dad and being a loser. He could have done both." Natalie went quiet. Connor kept talking. "Look, I love my dad, but he made choices. He stayed in the same boring job for decades, never pursued promotions, never relocated, never took risks. He listed evidence. Same house for 29 years, bought in 95, worth maybe $310,000 now. Could have sold it, upgraded. Didn't. Drives a 2006 Honda Civic, 198,000 miles. Could have bought something nicer. Didn't. Wears clothes from Target, cuts his own lawn. Never remarried, never traveled, never lived." Natalie had asked, "Did you ever ask him why he made those choices?" "I don't need to. The evidence speaks for itself." They got to Connor's condo around 10:15. Natalie went to bed. Connor stayed up, poured himself a bourbon. Called his Uncle Stephen. Stephen told me about this call the next day. He was furious. Connor had said, "Uncle Stephen, did you see Dad at the gala?" "I did." "Why was he there? Did you invite him?" "No, Victoria did." "Why?" "Because she wanted him there." "Connor, you shouldn't have said those things." Connor's voice had gone defensive. "What things?" "You called your father a loser." in front of the entire leadership team. I was joking. It didn't sound like a joke. Connor had sighed. Look, I love my dad, but I'm not going to pretend he's something he's not. He gave up after Mom died. That's just a fact. Connor. He had opportunities. I've seen the old photos. Him at company conferences, receiving awards, shaking hands with executives. Then Mom died, and he just faded. You don't understand. I understand he stopped trying. He turned down promotions. He stayed in the same job. He chose mediocrity. Stephen's voice had gone cold. Your father didn't choose mediocrity. He chose you. What's that supposed to mean? It means you're wrong about him. Dead wrong. And Monday, you're going to find out just how wrong. What happens Monday? You'll see. Connor had tried to press him. Uncle Stephen, what are you talking about? I'm not doing this over the phone. Call me Monday afternoon. After your company meeting. What meeting? The one you'll hear about Monday morning. Good night, Connor. Stephen hung up. Connor had stared at his phone, confused, annoyed, but he didn't call back. Instead, he'd poured another bourbon, sat on his couch, looked out his floor-to-ceiling windows at the Minneapolis skyline. He'd pulled up his phone, Googled Daniel Hayes Velocity Core, nothing recent, a few old mentions from the late 90s, some press releases from when the company was called Cortec Industries, awards, promotions, a photo of a younger version of me shaking hands with the CEO at the time. Connor had zoomed in on the photo, studied my face. I'd been 32, confident, ambitious, hungry, then nothing after 2003. Connor had wondered what happened, but he hadn't called me, hadn't asked. He'd just assumed, like he always did. At the same time, Uncle Stephen called me. Daniel, I tried not to interfere, but I couldn't help it. I told Connor he's wrong about you. What did you say? That he'll find out Monday. I'd sighed. Stephen, I appreciate it, but I didn't want you caught in the middle. I'm already in the middle. I'm your brother, and I watched that kid humiliate you in front of 100 people. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. That's the problem. You never told him. I didn't want him to feel guilty. Stephen's voice softened. Daniel, you're the best man I know. You sacrificed everything for that kid, and he thinks you're a failure. He'll understand soon enough. I hope so, because if he doesn't, I'm going to knock some sense into him myself. I'd laughed. Don't do that. Then let me tell him the truth, please. Not yet, Monday. Let him hear it from the company first, then we'll talk. Stephen had reluctantly agreed. Fine, but if he doesn't apologize, I'm stepping in. Fair enough. We'd hung up. I'd gone to bed, stared at the ceiling, thought about Connor's words. The family loser who never amounted to anything. 25 years. That's how long I'd been carrying this. This choice I made. This sacrifice. And Connor had no idea. But in less than 72 hours, he would. Sunday passed quietly. I didn't hear from Connor. He didn't call, didn't text. I spent the day preparing, reviewing documents for Monday's announcement, going over Victoria's transition plan, making notes. At one point, I went to my home office. Small room, 10 by 10. Desk, filing cabinet, bookshelf. I opened the filing cabinet, pulled out a folder. Connor, evidence. Inside, every receipt, every document, every piece of proof of what I'd done for him. Medical bills, college tuition, condo down payment, job offer letters I'd turned down. And at the very bottom, a sealed envelope. To Connor, on his 18th birthday. Rebecca's handwriting, purple ink. I'd never given it to him. Couldn't. It hurt too much. But maybe soon. Maybe after Monday. Maybe when he was ready to hear it. I closed the folder. Put it back in the cabinet. Sunday night. One more day until the announcement. Connor had no idea his entire world was about to flip. Monday morning. November 21st. 9 a.m. I woke up at 6. Showered. Put on a button-down shirt and khakis. Nothing fancy. I'd never been a suit guy. Drove to Velocity Corps' headquarters, downtown Minneapolis. 15-story building. Glass and steel. Modern. I parked in the executive garage. Victoria had assigned me a spot. Number 3, right next to hers. Took the elevator to the 15th floor. Executive suite. Victoria was waiting in her office. Big corner space. Views of the city. Morning, Daniel. Ready? As ready as I'll be. How are you feeling? Fine. A little nervous. She smiled. You'll be great. The board is thrilled. The employees are going to love you.
And Connor? Her smile faded. He'll be in the auditorium, front section.
I made sure of it. Does he know? No, nobody knows except the board and senior leadership. We're announcing it cold. I nodded. Good. At 8:45, Victoria's assistant sent out a company-wide alert. Mandatory all-hands meeting, 9 a.m., auditorium, attendance required. Across the building, 285 employees stopped what they were doing, grabbed their laptops, headed to the auditorium. Connor was at his desk when the alert came through. He turned to his colleague, Julian Foster, senior developer, 40 years old, 15 years at the company. What's this about? Connor asked. Julian shrugged. No idea. Probably some leadership announcement. Think someone got fired? Maybe. Or maybe we're getting acquired. They walked together to the auditorium. Third floor, big space, seats 320, screen at the front, Velocity Core logo glowing. Connor grabbed a seat in the fifth row, center section, good view of the stage. The room filled quickly. Employees, managers, directors, everyone talking, speculating. I heard it's about the Q4 numbers. No, it's definitely a leadership change. Maybe Victoria's stepping down. At exactly 9 a.m., the lights dimmed. Victoria walked onto the stage, confident, poised. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. The room quieted. I know you're all wondering why we called this meeting, so I'll get right to it. She paused, let the tension build. 6 months ago, the board began a search for new leadership. Velocity Core is entering a critical growth phase. We need someone with deep experience, strong values, and a proven track record. Connor leaned forward, listening. We wanted someone who understands this company's history, someone who helped build it, someone who knows what Velocity Core stands for. She smiled. I'm thrilled to announce that we found that person. The screen behind her lit up. A photo appeared. Me. Professional headshot, taken last month. Please welcome back Daniel Hayes, returning as Chief Executive Officer and board member. The room erupted in applause. Connor's face went white. He stared at the screen. At my face. At the title, CEO, Velocity Core Systems. His hands gripped the armrests. Daniel was VP of Engineering here from 1996 to 2003, Victoria continued. Many of our longest tenured employees remember him. He was a leader, a mentor, and a visionary. Julian, sitting next to Connor, leaned over. Wait, Hayes, is that? Connor nodded, couldn't speak. He left in 2003 for personal reasons, but his legacy never left, and now he's back. Victoria gestured to the side of the stage. Daniel, please join me. I walked out. The applause grew louder. I shook Victoria's hand, stepped to the microphone. The room was a blur. 285 people, but I only saw one, Connor, fifth row, center, staring at me like he'd seen a ghost. I took a breath. Thank you, Victoria, and thank you all for this warm welcome. My voice was steady, calm. It's surreal to be back. 25 years ago, I was VP of Engineering at the company that became Velocity Core. I was 31 years old, hungry, ambitious. I wanted the corner office. The room was silent. In 1999, I got the offer. Chief Operating Officer with a path to CEO, $265,000 salary, Boston office. It was everything I'd worked for. I paused. I was going to take it. My wife and I had already started looking at houses. Connor's eyes widened. Then my wife got sick. Stage 4 breast cancer. She fought for 11 months. She passed away on September 22nd, 1999. She was 31. I was 32. Our son was 7. The room was completely still. The company gave me 2 weeks bereavement. Then they asked, Are you still relocating? I looked directly at Connor. I had a 7-year-old boy who just lost his mother, who didn't understand why Mommy wasn't coming home, who woke up every night calling for her. My voice stayed even. I said no. I couldn't leave him. I couldn't make him change schools, move away from his grandparents, lose me too. Several people in the audience were crying. The company was understanding, but opportunities dried up. I became the guy who wasn't committed. My career stalled. I went from rising star to forgotten architect. I smiled, small, sad. But here's the thing. I don't regret it, not for a second. Connor had tears streaming down his face. I had a choice to make, titles or time. I chose time. The room stayed silent. And if I had to choose again, knowing everything, I'd make the same choice. I stepped back from the microphone. 2 seconds of silence.
Then Julian Foster stood up. "That's not losing," he said loudly.
"That's winning what matters." Applause erupted. One by one, the entire auditorium stood, 285 people on their feet. Connor stayed seated, frozen, tears streaming. Natalie, 3 rows ahead of him, turned around, looked at him. She mouthed, "Now do you understand?" Connor couldn't move. The applause continued for a full minute. When it finally died down, I spoke again. "Thank you. Let's get to work." Victoria returned to the stage, wrapped up the meeting. "Daniel will be holding one-on-ones with all department heads this week. If you have questions, his door is open. Thank you, everyone." The meeting ended. People filed out, talking, buzzing. Connor sat in his seat, alone. He pulled out his phone, Googled Daniel Hayes, CEO, Velocity Core. Dozens of results. Tech veteran Daniel Hayes returns as CEO. Industry legend takes helm at Velocity Core. LinkedIn, 30-plus years experience. 3 successful company turnarounds. $420,000 in consulting income over the last 4 years.
Connor's stomach dropped. My dad isn't a loser. He's a legend. And I called him a failure. In front of his future employees. Connor sat in that auditorium seat for 5 minutes after everyone left. Couldn't move. Couldn't think. Finally he stood. Walked out. Headed to the bathroom. Locked himself in a stall. Pulled out his phone, hands shaking. He texted Uncle Stephen. "You knew." Stephen replied immediately. "Yes, I tried to tell you." Connor. "Why didn't Dad tell me?" Stephen. "Because he didn't want you to feel guilty. He wanted you to build your own life." Connor. "I called him a loser, in front of everyone." Stephen. "Yes, you did." Connor. "What do I do?" Stephen. "Apologize. But honestly, I don't know if that's enough." Connor stared at his phone. Couldn't breathe. He stayed in that bathroom for 20 minutes. Finally, he walked back to his desk. Tried to work. Couldn't focus.
Around 10:30, his calendar pinged. Meeting request, Daniel Hayes, Sharon Collins, HR Director, General Counsel. Tuesday, 9 a.m., Conference Room B. Subject line, Family Employment Protocol. Connor's chest tightened. He clicked accept. The rest of Monday was a blur. Colleagues avoided him. Whispered. He caught fragments. Did you hear what he said at the gala? Called his own dad a loser, and now his dad's the CEO. That's brutal. Connor left work at 4, didn't say goodbye to anyone, drove home, sat in his condo, stared at the wall. Natalie showed up around 6. She had a key. "Connor," he looked up. "Hey, are you okay?" "No," she sat next to him. "I saw the announcement. I didn't know your dad was..." "Neither did I." "He was a VP. He was going to be CEO. Apparently." Natalie was quiet for a moment. "Connor, what you said at the gala, about him being a loser, about him giving up. I know. Did you know he turned down the CEO role?" "No. He never told me." "Why not?" "I don't know." Natalie looked at him. "Connor, you've been telling me for 18 months that your dad was a failure, that he gave up after your mom died, that he chose mediocrity." Connor couldn't meet her eyes. "But he didn't give up. He gave up the CEO role to raise you. I know." "Do you? Because that's not what you said Friday night." Connor's voice cracked. "I didn't know. You didn't ask." That hit hard. Natalie stood. "I need some time to think." "Natalie, I'm not breaking up with you. I just need to process this, because the person I've been dating for 18 months told me his dad was a loser, and now I find out his dad sacrificed everything for him, and you had no idea." She left. Connor sat alone in his condo, pulled up old photos on his phone, dad at his soccer games, every single one, front row, cheering, dad at his middle school graduation, high school graduation, college graduation, always there. Dad helping him move into his dorm, Dad co-signing his first apartment lease, Dad visiting on weekends when Connor was homesick. Connor had always thought, that's just what dads do. He'd never asked, what did Dad give up to do it? Underscore, 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 underscore. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., Connor walked into Conference Room B. Present, me, Sharon Collins, HR Director, and the General Counsel. I was already seated, professional, calm. Connor sat across from me. Couldn't look me in the eye. Sharon spoke first. "Connor, this meeting is protocol for family members working together. We need to establish clear boundaries." I nodded. "Connor, going forward, you'll report to the Chief Product Officer. Not to me directly. Connor looked up. Dad, I need to apologize. I raised a hand, gentle but firm. Connor, this isn't the time or place. My voice was even. No anger, no emotion. We're here to discuss professional protocol, not personal matters. Sharon pulled up a slide. New org chart. Connor's box connected to the CPO, not the CEO. This protects both of you, Sharon said. No preferential treatment, no conflicts of interest, clear reporting structure. Connor nodded. I understand. I spoke again. Connor, you're a talented director. You've done good work here. That won't change.
But we need clear boundaries. Can we talk? Privately? Please? We can schedule something, but not this week. I have a company to run. That stung. I saw it in his face. The meeting lasted 15 minutes. Professional. Efficient. Cold. As it ended, Sharon gathered her files. One folder stayed open on the table. I didn't close it. Intentional. Connor glanced down. Saw the letterhead. Executive offer letter, November 1999. His eyes went wide. Sharon noticed. Closed the folder quickly. Sorry. But the damage was done. Connor had seen it. As we left the conference room, Connor tried again. Dad, please, can we... I have a 10 a.m. with the board, excuse me. I walked away. Connor stood in the hallway, frozen. He went back to his desk. Tried to work. Couldn't. Around 11, Julian Foster stopped by. Hey, man, your dad's a legend here. Connor looked up. What do you mean? Julian sat on the edge of Connor's desk.
Back in the day, he was the guy, VP of Engineering at 30. Everyone thought he'd be CEO by 2002. What happened? Your mom died. He changed overnight, started leaving at 5 p.m. sharp, stopped traveling, turned down promotions. Connor's voice was small. Why? Julian looked at him like it was obvious. Because he was being your dad. We all assumed he'd lost his drive. Now I realize he was just prioritizing you. He never told me. Maybe he didn't want you to feel guilty. Julian stood. Look, I'm not judging you, but you should know. Your dad is beloved here. Old-timers remember him. He was the reason half of them stayed during the rough years in 2001 and 2002. He mentored people, fought for fair wages, protected teams during layoffs. Connor felt sick. When he left in 2003, morale tanked. It took years to recover. Julian patted Connor's shoulder. Maybe you should have asked before you called him a loser. He walked away. Connor sat at his desk, head in his hands. Around noon, he called Uncle Stephen. Uncle Stephen, I need to know everything. About what? About Dad, about 1999, about what he gave up. Stephen sighed. Connor, that's your dad's story to tell. Please, I'm begging you. Long pause. Fine, meet me for coffee. 4 p.m. Corner Bakery on Nicolette. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You're not going to like what you hear. Underscore 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 underscore. Connor met Uncle Stephen at 4. Corner Bakery. They sat in the back. Stephen pulled a folder from his bag, set it on the table. I made copies. Your dad doesn't know I have these. He opened the folder, pulled out a document. Executive offer letter, Cortec Industries, dated November 1st, 1999. Connor took it, read, position, Chief Operating Officer, transition to CEO within 36 months, salary, $265,000 annually, equity, 0.5% initial grant, relocation package, $50,000, start date, January 3rd, 2000. At the bottom, in Dad's handwriting, can't, Connor needs me. Connor's hands shook. Stephen pulled out another document, email thread, dated 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, all job offers, director, VP, CTO positions, all requiring relocation or heavy travel. Dad's replies, thank you, but I can't at this time. My son needs stability. Connor couldn't speak. Stephen pulled out one more document, a small leather journal, single entry, dated March 15th, 2003. Connor read it aloud, voice breaking. Connor made the soccer team today. He asked if I'd come to games. I said yes, all of them. My boss asked if I'd take the VP role in California. I said no. Connor is 11. He needs me here. The career can wait. My son can't. Connor put his head on the table, started crying. Stephen didn't comfort him, just sat there. Finally, Connor looked up. I called him a loser. I called him a failure, and he gave up everything for me. Stephen nodded. Yes, he did. Why didn't he tell me? Because he didn't want you to feel guilty. He wanted you to live your life, build your career, be proud of yourself. Connor wiped his eyes. What do I do? That's up to you. But Connor, an apology isn't enough. You need to understand what he sacrificed, and you need to mean it. Stephen stood, left the folder on the table. Read it all, every document, every email. Then maybe you'll start to get it. He walked out. Connor sat alone, opened the folder, started reading, and realized he'd been wrong about everything. That night, Connor couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the journal entry, about the job offers, about the 1999 CEO letter. Around 2 a.m., he got out of bed, got dressed, drove to Dad's house. He still had a key. Dad had never asked for it back. The house was dark. Dad's Honda Civic was in the driveway. He was asleep. Connor let himself in quietly, went to Dad's home office. Small room, 10 by 10, desk, filing cabinet, bookshelf. Connor opened the filing cabinet. Careful, quiet. Top drawer, labeled folders, medical, taxes, Connor, education. He pulled the medical folder. Inside, hospital bills, Abbott Northwestern, Minneapolis. Dated November 1998 through September 1999. Rebecca Hayes, cancer treatment. Connor's hands shook as he read. Chemotherapy, $185,000. Radiation, $58,000. Hospice care, $29,000. Experimental treatments, $96,000. Funeral costs, $18,000. Total billed, $385,000. Insurance covered, $128,000. Out of pocket, $257,000. Payment plan, $2,800 per month for 96 months. Connor did the math. 96 months, 8 years. Dad paid off Mom's death until Connor was 15. Connor's chest tightened. He pulled another folder. Second income, weekend consulting. Inside, pay stubs, tech support solutions, IT consulting, every Saturday, every Sunday. 8-hour shifts. 1999 through 2014. Rate, $35 an hour in 99. 55 by 2014. Connor added it up roughly. 15 years. 52 weekends a year, 16 hours per weekend, over $400,000 earned on weekends. While Connor was growing up, Connor had thought Dad was home every weekend, just relaxing, watching TV. He'd been working, secretly, to pay off medical debt, to save for college. Connor pulled another folder. Connor, education, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Tuition receipts, $24,000 per year, 4 years, $96,000 total, paid in full. Wire transfers, no loans. Connor had always thought, I got a scholarship. I paid for half myself. But there were no loan documents, just receipts. Dad's name on every payment. Connor's scholarship had covered half, $48,000. Dad had paid the rest, $48,000. Connor had never asked, never checked. He'd just assumed. Another folder. Career, opportunities declined. Job offer letters, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012. All senior roles, all six-figure salaries, all requiring relocation or 70% travel. Dad's handwritten notes in the margins. Connor starts middle school, can't move. Connor needs stability after Rebecca, not while he's still home. Every opportunity declined. For Connor, Connor found the journal. Small leather book, only a few entries. One dated 2003. Connor is 11. I chose him over California. I'd do it again. Another dated 2007. Medical debt finally paid off. 8 years. Worth it. Connor doesn't need to know. Another dated 2011. Connor got into UW-Madison. Tuition is $24,000 a year. I've saved $60,000. I'll work weekends to cover the rest. He can't have loans. Connor's vision blurred, tears streaming. He'd never known. Dad had sacrificed everything, and Connor had called him a loser. Connor heard footsteps. Dad appeared in the doorway, wearing old sweatpants and a t-shirt. Hair messy, tired. Connor, what are you doing here? Connor looked up, face wet. I'm sorry, I couldn't sleep. I needed to know. Dad saw the open files. The documents spread across the desk. He didn't say anything, just stood there. Connor held up the medical folder. You paid $257,000 for 8 years. Dad nodded. You worked 2 jobs for 15 years. Another nod. You paid for my college, all of it. You had a scholarship. Dad said quietly. Half scholarship. You paid the other half, $96,000. Dad didn't deny it. Connor's voice broke. You turned down CEO. You turned down VP roles. You turned down everything. For me. Dad stepped into the room. Connor, those were my choices. You don't owe me. I called you a loser. Silence. Connor stood, faced Dad. I called you the family loser who never amounted to anything, in front of your future employees, and the whole time you were sacrificing everything so I could have a life. Dad's voice was soft. You didn't know. I should have. I should have asked. I should have seen. Dad didn't say anything. Connor picked up the journal. You wrote, Connor is 11. I chose him over California. I'd do it again. Why? Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want you to feel guilty. I wanted you to build your life. Be proud. I was proud of the wrong things. Dad reached out, put a hand on Connor's shoulder. Connor, it's late. Go home. We can talk later. When? When you're ready. Connor wanted to argue, wanted to stay, wanted to fix it. But Dad's face said, not tonight. Connor left the files on the desk, walked out, got in his car, sat there for 10 minutes, then drove home. But he couldn't stop thinking. There was more. There had to be more. And tomorrow, at the all-hands meeting, he'd find out. Wednesday morning, Connor woke to dozens of notifications. LinkedIn, Twitter, news alerts. He opened LinkedIn first. Minneapolis Business Journal. Tech legend Daniel Hayes returns to company. He left to raise son alone. Article published at 6 a.m., already 45,000 shares. Connor read it. Daniel Hayes, former VP of Engineering at CoreTech Industries, now Velocity Core Systems, has returned as CEO 21 years after leaving to raise his son following his wife's death. Industry sources say Hayes turned down a CEO track position in 1999 to stay in Minneapolis and be a single father. He sacrificed his career to be present, said retired CTO Russell Bennett. That's integrity. Hayes' son now works at Velocity Core as Director of Product Strategy. Neither could be reached for comment. Connor's stomach dropped. The comments section was brutal. This is what real success looks like. Imagine calling your dad a loser when he sacrificed everything for you. I hope the son sees this and understands what he had. Connor clicked Twitter. Hash titles or time was trending locally. 12,000 tweets. Most were supportive. Daniel Hayes is a hero. Put family first. That's the definition of success. Everyone saying hustle culture needs to read this story. Some were pointed. Heard the son works at the company and had no idea. How do you not know your dad sacrificed his career for you? Connor closed his phone. Couldn't look. At work, the whispers were louder. He walked through the office. Colleagues turned away, stopped talking when he passed. One conversation he overheard. Did you see the Business Journal article? Yeah, Daniel Hayes is incredible. Can you imagine turning down CEO to raise your kid alone? And the son had no idea. That's tragic. Connor went to his desk, tried to work, couldn't focus. Around 10, Natalie texted him. Natalie, I saw the article. Connor, me too. Natalie, we need to talk. Connor, okay, tonight? Natalie, no, now. Coffee shop downstairs. Connor took the elevator down, met Natalie in the lobby cafe. She was already sitting, 2 cups of coffee. She slid one toward him. Connor, I've been thinking. About what? About us, about what you said at the gala, about your dad. Connor's chest tightened. Natalie, let me finish. I've been dating you for 18 months. In that time, you've told me your dad was a loser, a failure, someone who gave up. Connor looked down. You painted this picture of a man who chose mediocrity, who couldn't handle adversity, who quit. I know, I was wrong. It's not just that you were wrong, Connor. It's that you were cruel. Natalie's voice was calm, but firm. Your dad gave up his career to raise you, and you mocked him for it, publicly. I didn't know. You didn't ask. Connor couldn't meet her eyes. I keep thinking, what kind of person does that to their own father? Natalie, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to make it right. I don't know if that's enough. Silence. Natalie stood. I need time to think. About us. About whether I can be with someone who could do that. Natalie, please. I'll call you in a few days. She left. Connor sat there, alone, coffee untouched. Around noon, the director of sales found him. Connor, can we talk? Sure. They went to an empty conference room. The director sat down, looked uncomfortable. Look, I'm not here to judge you, but you should know. Your dad is beloved here. Connor nodded. Old-timers remember him. He was the reason half of them stayed during the rough years in 2001. When the company was bleeding money, Daniel fought for raises, protected teams from layoffs, mentored everyone. Connor listened. When he left in 2003, morale tanked. People felt betrayed, like he'd abandoned us. Why? Because we didn't understand. We thought he just quit, got soft, couldn't handle the pressure. The director leaned forward. But now we know. He didn't quit. He chose you. And that makes him even more of a legend. Connor's voice was barely audible. I called him a loser. I know, I was there. Silence. The director stood. I'm telling you this because you need to understand your dad is respected here. And what you said, people remember. He left. Connor went back to his desk, put his head down. Around 3, the office manager announced, Everyone, the Minneapolis Business Journal is here for photos. They're doing a feature on Daniel's return. Anyone who wants to be in the group photo, meet in the lobby. 80 people went down. Connor stayed at his desk. Around 4, Uncle Stephen called. Connor, have you talked to your dad? No, he said we'd talk later. Have you seen the press coverage? Yes. And? Uncle Stephen, I don't know what to do. Everyone knows. Everyone's talking about it, and I'm the bad guy. Stephen's voice softened. You're not the bad guy. You're just a kid who didn't understand. I'm 31. And you've been operating on incomplete information for 24 years. Connor was quiet. Stephen continued. Your dad never told you what he sacrificed. That's on him too. But Connor, you need to understand the scope of it. Really understand. I'm trying. Then come to my house tonight. 7 p.m. I have more to show you. What? Everything your dad didn't want you to see, but you need to... Underscore. That evening, Connor drove to Uncle Stephen's house in Edina, 15 minutes from downtown. Stephen answered the door, led Connor to his study. On the desk, a cardboard box. U-Haul branded, heavy. What's this? Everything. Your dad's financial records, timeline, receipts, all of it. Stephen opened the box, pulled out a binder. I've been organizing this for years, waiting for the right time. He handed Connor a spreadsheet. Daniel Hayes' financial timeline, 1999 to 2024. Connor looked at the columns. Year vertical bar, salary vertical bar, weekend income vertical bar, medical payments vertical bar, Connor expenses vertical bar, career opportunities declined. 1999, $95,000 salary. $18,000 weekend income, $33,000 medical payments, $14,000. Connor expenses, childcare school, CEO offer declined, $2,000, $95,000 salary, $26,000 weekend income, $33,000 medical payments, $15,000 Connor expenses. Director offer declined, 2003. $95,000 salary, $28,000 weekend income, $33,000 medical payments, $18,000 Connor expenses. VP offer declined. On and on. Year after year, Connor added it up. Total weekend income over 15 years, $420,000. Total medical payments, $257,000. Total Connor expenses, childcare, school, college, down payment. $428,000. Total career opportunities declined. 11. Estimated lifetime earnings lost. $4.2 million. Connor stared at the numbers. Stephen spoke quietly. Your dad gave up $4 million in lifetime earnings. To raise you. To be present. To pay for your life. Connor couldn't speak. Stephen pulled out one more item. A sealed envelope. And this. Your mom's letter. Your dad was supposed to give it to you on your 18th birthday. He couldn't. Connor took the envelope. Yellowed paper. Purple ink. To Connor, on his 18th birthday. His hands shook. Should I read it now? Stephen nodded. Yes, you need to. Connor opened it carefully. Inside, a handwritten letter. 2 pages. His mom's handwriting. He read, underscore. My darling Connor, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry I can't be there to watch you grow up. But I need you to know something about your father.
He's the best man I've ever known, and he's going to give up everything to raise you. I see it already. The way he looks at you, the way he talks about your future. He's going to sacrifice his career, his dreams, maybe even his happiness for you. Please don't let him forget that love isn't the same as ambition. He's going to feel like a failure, like he didn't accomplish enough. But Connor, listen to me. Raising you is his greatest accomplishment. Make sure he knows he's enough. Make sure he knows he's a hero. I love you both. Mom underscore 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 underscore. Connor broke down, sobbing. Stephen put a hand on his shoulder. Now do you understand? Connor nodded, couldn't speak. Tomorrow, all hands meeting. Your dad's giving his first big speech as CEO. You need to be there. I don't know if I can face him. You don't have a choice. You need to hear what he has to say, and you need to let him see you hear it. Connor wiped his eyes. Okay. Stephen walked him to the door. Connor, your dad loves you more than anything. Don't forget that. Connor drove home, held Mom's letter the entire way. Tomorrow, the showdown. He had no idea what to say. Friday, 2 p.m. all-hands meeting. Connor arrived early, sat in the back row this time, hood up, sunglasses. Didn't want to be seen. The auditorium filled. 285 employees, plus 60 remote attendees on the screen. Everyone was talking, buzzing. The press coverage had made Dad a legend. At exactly 2 p.m., the lights dimmed. Victoria walked out, introduced Dad. Please welcome our CEO, Daniel Hayes, for his first formal address. Applause. Dad walked onto the stage, casual button-down, khakis, reading glasses. He looked calm, confident. Connor's chest tightened. Dad stepped to the microphone. Thank you all for being here. I want to talk about choices. The room went silent. 25 years ago, I stood at a crossroads. On one side, the corner office, CEO track, $265,000 salary, prestige, power, everything I'd worked for. Pause. On the other side, a 7-year-old boy who'd just lost his mother, who woke up every night crying, who didn't understand why I couldn't bring Mommy back. The room was completely still. I chose the boy. I chose my son. Connor's hands gripped the armrests. That choice cost me. My career stalled. Promotions went to other people. I was labeled uncommitted, unambitious, soft. Dad's voice stayed even. For 21 years, I worked the same job, same title, same salary. People asked, what happened to Daniel Hayes? He had so much potential. He smiled, small, sad. But here's what they didn't see. They didn't see me at every soccer game, every school play, every parent-teacher conference. They didn't see me working weekends, 8-hour shifts, every Saturday and Sunday, so I could pay off medical bills and save for college. Connor's eyes filled with tears. They didn't see me turn down 11 job offers over 20 years, VP roles, CTO positions, director opportunities, all requiring relocation or 70% travel. They didn't see me pay $96,000 in cash for my son's college tuition, or give him $35,000 for his first condo down payment. The audience murmured. They saw a man who stayed stuck, but I wasn't stuck. I was present. Dad paused, looked directly at the back row, at Connor. Some people think that made me a loser. Connor's face crumbled, but I think it made me a father. The room erupted in applause. Dad continued. I'm telling you this because Velocity Core is at a crossroads too. We can chase growth at any cost, or we can build a company that values people. I want to build a culture where parents can leave at 5 p.m. without guilt, where taking family leave isn't career suicide, where success isn't just revenue, it's retention, dignity, balance. More applause. I missed the corner office for 25 years, but I don't miss what I would have lost. His voice cracked slightly. First time all speech. Because the real win wasn't the title, it was showing up. He stepped back. 2 seconds of silence. Then Julian Foster stood, loud, clear. That's not losing, that's winning what matters. The entire auditorium erupted. Standing ovation. 285 people on their feet. Connor stayed seated, crying. Couldn't stand. Natalie, 3 rows ahead, turned around, looked at him, tears in her eyes too. She mouthed, "Do you finally see?" Connor nodded. The applause went on for a full minute. Dad stood on stage, calm, humble, didn't smile,
just nodded his thanks. When the applause died, he spoke again. Thank you. Now let's talk about our Q4 strategy. He shifted to business, talked about goals, metrics, growth plans, professional, focused. The meeting lasted another 30 minutes. When it ended, employees filed out, talking, energized. Connor stayed in his seat, alone. Finally he stood, walked out, went straight to his car, drove, not home, not to Uncle Stephen's, to Dad's house. Underscore 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 underscore. Connor pulled up to the familiar beige ranch. Same wooden mailbox, same worn porch. He knocked. Dad answered, still in his work clothes, surprised. Connor, can I come in? Dad stepped aside. Connor walked to the living room, stood in front of the wall of photos, hundreds of them. Every milestone, every moment. Dad's entire life documented on this wall. Connor pointed to one. That's my first soccer game, 2001. I was 9. Dad nodded. You drove 40 minutes each way, twice a week, for 6 years. Another nod. Connor pointed to another photo. My high school graduation, 2009. You took the day off work. You never took days off. That was important. They were all important. Connor turned to face Dad. I found Mom's letter. Dad's face changed. Connor, Uncle Stephen gave it to me. He said you were supposed to give it to me when I turned 18, but you couldn't. Dad looked down. She wrote, make sure he knows he's enough. Make sure he knows he's a hero. Connor's voice broke. But I called you a loser. Dad didn't say anything. I called you the family loser who never amounted to anything, in front of your employees, at your company. Connor, no. Let me finish. Connor took a breath. I spent 24 years thinking you gave up, that you couldn't handle Mom's death, that you chose mediocrity. But you didn't give up. You gave up the corner office. You gave up $4 million. You gave up every opportunity. For me, Dad's eyes were wet. You worked 2 jobs for 15 years so I wouldn't have loans. You paid off Mom's medical bills for 8 years so I could have stability. You turned down VP roles so I wouldn't have to move schools. Connor stepped closer. You sacrificed everything, and I never noticed. I didn't want you to notice, Dad said quietly. I wanted you to build your life. Be proud. I was proud of the wrong things. Dad reached out, put a hand on Connor's shoulder. Connor, you couldn't have known. I never told you. I should have asked. Maybe, but I should have told you. They stood there, father and son. 24 years of misunderstanding between them. Finally, Connor spoke. I don't know how to fix this. You don't have to fix it, not all at once. But I hurt you. Yes, you did. Connor flinched. Dad continued. But Connor, I didn't do all of this for gratitude. I did it because I love you. I know. Do you? Connor nodded. I do now. Dad pulled him into a hug. First time in years. Connor broke down. I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I know. I forgive you. They stayed like that for a long time. Finally, Dad pulled back. You hungry? Connor laughed, tearful. Yeah. Want to grab dinner sometime? How about tonight? Dad smiled. I'd like that. Underscore 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 underscore. They went to a diner, same one they used to go to when Connor was a kid. Sat in a booth, ordered burgers, talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Connor asked questions about Mom, about the CEO offer, about the weekend jobs, about all of it. Dad answered, honest, open. At one point, Connor asked, why didn't you ever tell me about the sacrifices, the money, the opportunities you gave up? Dad was quiet for a moment. Because I didn't want you to feel guilty. I wanted you to live without that weight. But I ended up with a different weight, thinking you were a failure. I know, I should have told you. I was trying to protect you. But maybe I protected you too much. Connor nodded. What happens now, at work, with us? Professionally, you still report to the CPO. That doesn't change. Clear boundaries. And personally? Dad smiled. Personally, we start over. Not forget, but rebuild. I'd like that. They finished dinner, drove home separately. Connor went to his condo. Natalie was waiting outside. Natalie, hi. I didn't know you were coming. I needed to see you. They went inside, sat on the couch. Natalie spoke first. I saw you at the all-hands, in the back row. Yeah, you were crying. Connor nodded. Did you talk to your dad? Yes, just now we had dinner. And I apologized, and he forgave me, and we're going to try. Natalie was quiet for a moment. Connor, I've been thinking a lot about us, about what you said, about your dad. Connor braced himself. And I realized you didn't know. You made assumptions. But you didn't have all the information. That's not an excuse. No, but it's context. She took his hand. Connor, I saw you cry today. I saw you realize what your dad did, and I saw you go to him. And I think you're capable of growing, of learning. Connor's eyes filled with hope. Does that mean... It means I'm not giving up on us. But I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll never make assumptions like that again, about anyone, especially family. I promise. Natalie kissed him. Okay, then we're okay. Connor held her. Grateful. Underscore 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 underscore. Over the next few weeks, things slowly shifted. Connor showed up to work differently, humbler, quieter. Colleagues noticed. Some warmed up again, others stayed distant. Julian Foster became a friend. They grabbed lunch, talked about Dad's legacy at the company. Your dad mentored me back in 2000, Julian said. I was 25, fresh out of college, imposter syndrome. Your dad spent hours teaching me, believed in me. He's good at that. He is. And Connor, what you said at the gala, water under the bridge, your dad doesn't hold grudges. I know, I'm lucky. Underscore 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 underscore. At home, Connor and Dad started having weekly dinners. Thursdays, always the same diner. They talked about everything. Work, life, Mom. One night, Connor asked, "Do you ever regret it, turning down CEO?" Dad thought for a moment. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened. But regret? No. Why not? Because I got something better. I got you. Connor smiled. That's corny. It's true. They laughed. Underscore 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 underscore. 1 month after the gala, Connor received a performance review. Meets expectations, not exceeds. His boss, the CPO, explained, "Your work is solid, but there's room for growth, particularly in leadership and team dynamics." Connor accepted it. No arguments. After the meeting, Dad called him in. "Connor, I saw your review." "Yeah. How do you feel about it?" "Honestly, I earned it. I've been coasting." Dad nodded. "I'm offering you coaching, not as your father, as your CEO. I'd appreciate that." "Good. We start next week." Underscore 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 underscore. 2 months after the gala, the Minneapolis Business Journal ran a follow-up story. Headline: Daniel Hayes' Leadership Transforming Velocity Core Culture. The article detailed new policies. Asterisk flexible family leave, 12 weeks paid. Asterisk no meeting Fridays. Asterisk 5 p.m. hard stop policy for parents. Asterisk Patterson Integrity Award for employees who prioritize ethics over profit. Victoria was quoted, "Daniel is building the company we always wanted to be." At the end of the article, a small quote from an anonymous employee. "I used to think Daniel Hayes' son was the luckiest guy in the world. Now I know he is. He just didn't realize it until it was almost too late." Connor read it. Knew it was about him. He was okay with that. Underscore 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 underscore. 3 months after the gala, Natalie proposed moving in together. "Really?" Connor asked. "Yeah, I want to, if you do." "I do, but Natalie, I need to tell you something." "What?" "The down payment for my condo, it was from my dad. I thought it was a work bonus, but it was him." Natalie smiled. "I know." "You do? Your dad told me, weeks ago. He wanted me to know who you really are, who he raised you to be." Connor was stunned. "And you stayed?" "I stayed because I saw you learn. I saw you change. That's who I'm choosing." They moved in together the next month. Underscore, 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 underscore. 4 months after the gala, on a Thursday night dinner, Dad gave Connor an envelope. What's this? Open it. Inside, a check, $35,000. Dad, I can't. It's not a gift. It's reimbursement. For what? Your condo down payment. I gave it to you as a gift. But you should have known it was from me. So consider this. I'm giving it to you again, openly, so you can choose what to do with it. Connor stared at the check. Dad, this is too much. It's not. It's what you're owed, for all the things I didn't tell you, for all the years I let you think I was less than I am. Connor folded the check, put it back in the envelope, handed it to Dad. I don't want it. Connor, I want you to keep it. And when you're ready, when you want to retire or travel or do something for yourself, use it. Dad's eyes filled with tears. Connor, you spent your whole life giving to me. Let me give something back. Dad took the envelope, nodded, couldn't speak. They sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Dad said, You turned out pretty good, kid. Connor laughed. I had a pretty good teacher. Underscore, 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 underscore. 6 months after the gala, Velocity Corps held a company celebration, holiday party, same venue as the founder's legacy gala. Connor walked in with Natalie. Dad was already there. Colleagues waved, smiled, no more whispers. Connor approached Dad. Hey yourself. How are you? Good, really good. Dad smiled. I'm glad. They stood together, watched the party. At one point, Victoria walked over. Daniel, Connor, can I borrow you both for a moment? She led them to a small stage, microphone set up. What's this? Connor asked. Victoria smiled. Company announcement. She took the microphone. Everyone, can I have your attention? The room quieted. 6 months ago, Daniel Hayes returned as CEO. In that time, he's transformed our culture, prioritized people, built integrity. Applause. But tonight, I want to recognize someone else. Connor Hayes, Director of Product Strategy. Connor's eyes widened. Connor has shown remarkable growth, leadership, humility, and a commitment to learning. Victoria pulled out a small plaque. Connor, this is the first ever Patterson Integrity Award, named after Daniel's approach to leadership. It goes to employees who prioritize what matters. She handed him the plaque. You've earned this. Congratulations. The room applauded. Connor stood there, stunned. He looked at Dad. Dad was smiling, proud. Connor stepped to the microphone. Thank you. I don't know what to say. He paused, looked at Dad. 6 months ago, I called my dad a loser. I was wrong. He's the most successful person I know. The room was silent. Not because of titles, not because of money, but because he showed up, every day, for 25 years. Connor's voice cracked. He taught me that success isn't what you earn, it's what you give. He stepped back. The room erupted in applause. Dad walked over, hugged him. I'm proud of you, Dad whispered. I learned from the best. They stood together, father and son. And for the first time in 25 years, Connor finally understood. His dad wasn't a loser. He was a hero. And Connor was the luckiest person in the world. 1 year after the gala. Connor sat in Dad's living room. Same brown leather recliner, same wall of photos. But now there were new photos. Connor and Dad at Twins games, dinners, company events. Dad walked in with 2 beers, handed one to Connor. How's work? Dad asked. Good, really good. My team hit our Q3 targets, and I got promoted. Senior director. Yeah, as of next month. Dad smiled. Congratulations. Thanks. Couldn't have done it without your coaching. They sat in comfortable silence. Connor spoke first. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever wish things had been different, that I'd known sooner? Dad thought for a moment. Sometimes. But Connor, you know now. That's what matters. I wasted so much time. You didn't waste it. You lived it, made mistakes, learned. Connor nodded. Dad continued. Connor, I didn't sacrifice everything so you'd spend your life feeling guilty. I did it so you'd have a life, a good one. I know. Do you? Because sometimes I still see it. The guilt, the regret. Connor was quiet. Dad leaned forward. Connor, listen to me. You're 32 years old. You have a career you built, a woman who loves you, a future. Because of you. Because of us. I gave you the foundation. You built the house. Connor smiled. That's corny. It's true. They laughed. At that moment, Natalie walked in. She had a key now. Hey, guys. Hey, Connor said. Want a beer? Sure. Dad got her one. They sat together, the three of them. Natalie spoke. So, Connor and I have some news? Dad looked at them. Oh? Connor grinned. We're engaged. Dad's face lit up. Congratulations. When? Last night. I proposed at the diner. Same booth where we used to eat. Dad stood, hugged Connor, hugged Natalie. I'm so happy for you both, Natalie smiled. We want you involved, in the planning, everything. I'd be honored. They sat down again, talked about wedding plans, venues, dates. At one point, Connor asked, Dad, will you be my best man? Dad's eyes filled with tears. Connor, I'd be honored. But don't you want someone your age? No, I want you. You're my best friend. Dad couldn't speak, just nodded. Later that night, after Natalie left, Connor and Dad stood on the porch. Dad? Yeah? Thank you for everything, for choosing me. Dad put his arm around Connor's shoulders. I'd do it again, every time. They stood there, looking at the same street Dad had driven down for 29 years, the same mailbox, the same house, the same life. But now Connor saw it differently, not as smallness, but as love, not as giving up, but as showing up. And that made all the difference. Want to grab breakfast tomorrow? Connor asked. Dad smiled. I'd like that. It wasn't a Hollywood ending. No dramatic music, no perfect resolution, just a father and son. Learning to see each other, learning to heal. One dinner at a time, and sometimes that's enough.